Welcome to Super Lead Podcast.
Thank you very much. Very excited by this one.
Excellent. So you and I have worked together in the past, and I'm super amped to have this conversation. So it feels like a catch up somewhat. It doesn't feel like the normal conversations I have. So let's dive straight in. Antoine, we're going to unpack conversational AI and a lot more in a bit. But to set context, we want to first kind of know who we're talking to. So give us a sense of who you are. We like to start as early as possible. Just walk us all the way to, as early as possible, walk us to where we are as the founder and CEO at FinChatBot.
Sure. So once upon a time, my dad met my mom. Cool. Now, so originally from France, born and raised in Paris. Did a business school. I have a master's degree in entrepreneurship. Started my career in a big IT computer business called Toshiba, Japanese. I was selling laptops to big retailers, so quite an interesting journey. Did that for 5 years, sorry, and after 5 years, had the opportunity to become an entrepreneur and met a very interesting CEO from a French business that was doing digital marketing. And he was looking to expand his business overseas. So put together a whole business plan, budget, and pitched to him that I was the right guy to do that and where. And that's where we decided to go to South Africa. So that's what brought me to South Africa in 2014, 1st April 2014. Couldn't speak a word of English. I was literally starting from scratch, you know. I mean, I could understand, but I was not speaking very well. So and I was a sales guy, right? So I dare you, man, to do the sales guy without speaking the language in an entrepreneurial project. That's proper diving. And yeah, just for the funny story, I was literally learning my pitch deck by heart and crossing fingers, like praying every time before my sales meeting to just hope to not have any objection and just having a signature at the end. Never worked that way, never worked that way. Anyway, so I did that business for 3 years, initially Cape Town. Then I met my co-founder and we started a couple of businesses. One of them is not operating anymore, but was the kind of the incubator of the different project and the project that I'm going to explain now. It's called Far Ventures, and it was pretty much a startup launcher. So we had a big office space in Roland Street in the city center of Cape Town. We had engineers from all around the world coming to develop MVPs of ideas that we had. And we literally supported and launched 3 projects out of that. One of them is FinChatBot that I'm going to explain. And we also launched Jump-in Rides, a carpooling ride-sharing platform, as well as a project around digitalization in the Stockfell industry to help digitalize that savings approach. And yeah, that's how we started. And the idea of FinChatBot came from my experience in the digital marketing, where I was literally servicing your previous employer in leads. I was sending leads to the whole financial industry, bank, insurance, lenders, and realized very quickly that on one side, the customer experience was really poor. We were capturing details, sending that to a call center, and then hoping to get paid at some point. Very little transparency from the marketing partner to the call center and vice versa. But also not great customer experience. And we felt that there was a massive opportunity to literally create the digital broker or digital banker that would really help the marketing providers, lead generation partners to do a better job, but also improving sales, improving customer experience, improving conversion. And that's really how we started, So sorry, we started 2016. Maybe I can give you a little bit further down the line. November 2016, we raised now 2.5 million euros over 3 years. We are 42 in the business, and I think when we saw each other back then, we were probably 10. So we quadrupled since last we met. And now we're operating in four countries: so South Africa, Portugal, France, UK, and it's so cool because we developing a really interesting tech out of South Africa. South African engineers. I mean, actually, Southern African engineers. We have engineers from Zambia, from Namibia, from Swaziland, from South Africa. So it's quite a mix. And we start now serving European clients. So, we often say, Europe is going to solve Africa's problems, right? No. Now we have an African business solving European problems. There you go.
I love that. We can even stop the podcast at that. I mean, that's just
done. Dropping the mic.
So I'm intrigued. We're gonna get into the FinChatBot in a bit.
Yeah.
Here you are. You have a great job. You're selling computers. You're a corporate person, like many of the listeners that will listen to their podcast. What is it that's pulled you to say, I want to go the entrepreneurship route, and perhaps also even to an extent that you want to even relocate? I mean, there must have been something inside bigger than I don't know how you could do that. You want to walk us through that process?
Yeah, sure. So I come from a family that has a lot of background in entrepreneurship. So my dad was a really fantastic entrepreneur, not at all in this industry. He was more in the tourism space, built hotel in all around the world and launched businesses that way. And that has always been a fantastic inspiration for me. Yeah. So, and one of his big projects was in Africa, in West Africa, in Sierra Leone, so French-speaking part of Africa. And I was raised for quite like a year or two there. So I already had kind of a special connection with Africa. But and I think, this education and seeing my dad evolving there and my other family members, I loved it. I was already hooked. And I experienced corporate for 5 years. I loved it. I hated it. It taught me how to work, but then the entrepreneurship it's like a drug. You start, you can't go back, It's terrible. You really part of a roller coaster that one day you're like super happy and the other day it's like bad news, and the day after it starts again. It's like it's a proper ride, but it's I love it. I love having this drive and vision that can lead to create a team that follows that. I think for me this is the biggest reward. It's a human adventure. Because you have to manage humans, you have to convince humans, you have to sell to. So it's really all about human connection, and I think seeing where we started and where we are today is for me already a success. It's amazing.
I mean, I can attest being a new entrepreneur in.
Welcome to the crowd.
I want to say, your growth is amazing. To quadruple from not too long ago when we met, it's beyond amazing. So now help us for some of those who probably do not have who do not understand or who do not know as yet what FinChatBot is, what you actually do. You highlighted, what the problem you're trying to solve to an extent, but now I want to kind of get a sense of what this team of 40 odd people, what do they wake up to go do every morning?
Sure, that's a lovely question. So first of all, a little bit of a personal story. So when I arrived in South Africa 7 years ago, in 2014, the first thing I did was purchasing a car. And in France, when you purchase a car, you have to insure it. It's like, it's mandatory, it's legal, right? So I bought my car, I want to insure it. And I started to do the process. So I put my details on a form and got a call back. And then back 7 years ago, I had not the same French accent, like the French accent that you don't understand level French accent, right? So the poor like call center agents, I can't blame them. They're not used to speaking to a guy that is trying to speak English with a very thick French accent, with a weird name, with a weird surname that doesn't know his address, like terrible. So I spent 50 minutes on the phone to try to be understood, realized that the brand I was engaging with was not suitable for me. I had to start again the process. Became crazy. And that's, sometimes, and maybe you have the same experience, but you start a business by you want to solve a problem. And yes, sometimes in my case was my own problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, we started that for these reasons, really trying to not only doing a tech business. I think now tech in many ways is becoming commodities. You can access to open source software, you can access to very cheap software that can do 80-90% of the job you're trying to solve. So we're really trying to put together an expertise and a real drive enabled by technology. So it's expert and technology together to try to solve really essential customer frustration. Yeah. And the fundamental, like the vision we have is to really impact positively people's lives through intelligent digital solution. And our mission behind is to ingeniously digitalize customer experiences. So that's really where we fit, and it's at the heart of every single touch point we have with our partner, prospect, clients, and even end users. So pretty much you work with us. We sit here with a tremendous experience on what to do and what not to do in the financial industry using conversational AI. A platform that has now integrating, I don't know, about 50 odds softwares, legacy system, backend system, in order to create this ultimate conversation that can help you get the right level of education about an insurance product or a banking product, convert, so buying if you want, respond to your questions. So we're pretty much trying to put together the ultimate broker agent, digital banker, completely automated.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That is fabulous. Lovely, lovely. So I imagine engaging with your clients who are, insurance and banking. Most of the, the channels that, have built these companies over the years largely have been human brokers. Then you have call centers. To a large extent, there's those pieces and their branches, right? And then you are saying, okay, we're going to digitize this whole thing, and you're going to talk to a board. I just wonder how that conversation goes and how clients are sort of transitioning from the kind of this way of thinking perhaps to adopting some of this new conversational AI.
Yeah, so it's you really have to go back into the customer experience. So what do customers want? We're not trying to sell a chatbot. We're trying to sell a customer experience that's gonna help people, right? So we often hear some level of frustration around chatbot, like I'm asking a question, doesn't understand me, it gets blocked. I don't want to. We took the problem the other way around and say, what do customers want? They want to purchase, they want to service, they want to retain or collect or whatever. So we go back to what are the essentials that customers really want and give access to those services via high transactional capability across multiple channels. To speak in French and try to clarify, we enable insurance companies and banks to, let's say, open a bank account on WhatsApp, purchase a policy, an insurance policy on WhatsApp. And and instead of saying you have to chat to a bot, we say if you want to chat to a bot, you can. If you want to engage with a human, we hand over to you. So we now have scenarios where people are calling the call center, and the call center doesn't answer because they're too busy. And there's a message that says, if you want to engage with our automated solution that can do exactly what you want on WhatsApp, press 1, we send you a WhatsApp.
Okay.
And that creates this kind of real value for customers. Therefore, it's not a problem that it's a bot or not. We solve the customer problem. Excellent. And that's the real value here.
So I'm going to just go ahead and ask this. Is this one of the, I mean, most executives, I think in the last 4 or 5 years, there's this need to kind of do something. Oh, we've also launched a bot, and it's a little gimmicky kind of thing that we have on the side, but the real business is happening here. Are we at the level of gimmicky, or are we at now the space where we are kind of seeing big productions coming through these channels?
Yeah, I would say it's really in between. There has been quite a lot of education that had to go through convincing those executives that it was a proper channel and that had to be considered and had to be marketed and pushed and so on. However, the catalyst was really the pandemic. Like from a day to another, you have, I don't know, 30% of your call center staff that can't connect and can't use. So influx of calls, not enough people to answer. Or brokers, they are known to be like meeting face-to-face their customers, their prospects. How do they do that now? Sure. So the pandemic has accelerated the adoption of such a technology. And now we start seeing like mainframe type of projects. We're working with MTN on their mobile money project, where we engage with, I think, more than 10,000 people on a monthly basis. So quite a number, yeah. And it's growing actually. So you're seeing really an adoption, and I think there is a transition between USSD. And I see the place of such a technology between USSD and in-app. So you would have a USSD experience, very, very basic, but that can serve quite a number of purposes. You have the in-app experience that is still hard to be mainstream because app must be downloaded, data cost is expensive. And then you have pretty much us. We fit in the middle because we can zero rate the experience, provide engagement, education, context, answer to different queries, and available on any channel. So WhatsApp, Facebook, web chat, whatever. So there is quite an interesting fit in between, and I see the uptake really over the past 9 months.
Fabulous. That's interesting. So help me here. So we've spoken about what the company is doing and how you're solving the problem, and the fact that this is kind of moving towards mainstream, and the pandemic is accelerating the move to adoption, which is fascinating. Now, what are we talking about here? Conversational AI. Help me, to kind of understand what this is. I hear people talk about bots, conversational AI, just use English and a bit of French.
And a little bit of French. Okay, I'm going to do that. So it's really about simulating a human conversation in a automated conversation or an automated way. So we simulate what you would get if you engage with a human, but completely automated on your favorite channel. So there's no need to download an app. There's no need to register somewhere. The conversation handles all that and is present within your favorite medium, favorite channels. So conversational AI and the way we position it, so there are multiple technologies behind. You have heavy AI, machine learning driven type of technology that we call natural language processing, natural language understanding, It's all those intent classification, and so now I'm not speaking French anymore now. So I'm going into a bit of technical, but you have an AI type of category. You have more guided type of conversation. So the one with the menu driven selection buttons, all that, and all the rest. I'm not going to talk about all the rest, but the vision we have is to combine both. So to start by very much process-driven type of technology, because we know that our clients know what their customers need and want. So we're going to create the right customer experience connected to that. And I'll tell you an example now. And once we've once we've mapped out maybe 60-70% of the queries, then we put the AI layer. Because the AI layer is about identifying what does the customer want. But once you know what he wants, you need to put together the right process, the right experience for that. To give you an example, today, one of the big challenge that banks have is to KYC people.
Yes,
and
use English.
Know your customer.
Thank you.
And this process is about making sure that the person that engages with the digital channel is the person that they say there is. So the view here is enabling multiple partners to KYC the person. So the bank is going to have the administrative system. We're going to enable a communication with Home Affairs and the like of TransUnion. So we're going to take a selfie in the chat. So you on WhatsApp, you take a selfie. We interrogate Home Affairs, confirm your identity. Yes, you can open a bank account in less than 30 seconds. Then you need to sign. You need to sign the contract, right? We push a little pop-up. You do your signature on your smartphone, validate. Boom, your bank account is open. And that's, you know, the vision is really around what do customers want? So education and level of services that is really amazing. And then we create those experiences, connect to the system and map that out. So it's really about starting from the customers.
Perfect. I love that. So I'm on the same basic kind of language. This is not an if-else statement on Excel. Is it a little bit more than that?
Of course. But to give you an example, like I'm in Europe now, and I just opened a bank account with a neobank called Revolut that you probably know. It took me 2 minutes.
What?
Literally 2 minutes. So I scanned my passport, took a selfie. 2 minutes later, validation. My account is operating. I can receive a debit card within 24 hours. I did the same process in South Africa with the Blue Bank, to not mention it. It took me 4 weeks.
No way.
Yes, because I needed to meet a consultant. I needed to sign papers. I needed to be in front of, and I didn't have the right paper, and I had to go back. It took me 4 weeks to be able to operate on an account. That's the gap we have.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to educate how important customer experience is, and this shift you're seeing in this generation of like millennials that are really looking for instant information, being able to do the thing now, not waiting 24 hours to get a response, and being able to action the things they want to do now. That's quite important.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Okay. So then you're solving for that ultimate customer experience, which is incredible. Now, you have been able to build this business fast. I imagine it had impact. Now, let's say someone is listening to us and go, I love what I'm hearing, but I'm a medium-sized business. Can we all afford FinChatBot solutions?
Yeah, so we have different tiers of packages. We always promote and like to start small. We don't want to oversell what the technology can do.
Yeah.
And we like to partner with our clients. And that's one of the big things. We don't see ourselves as a software provider, but we see ourselves as a partner that can guide our customers to onboard and use it to its best capabilities, conversational solutions.
Yeah.
So in that way, we're going to build a business case with the client. Like, okay, what is it that you're trying to achieve? Are you looking for more sales? Are you looking for cost saving? Are you looking for an improvement in customer satisfaction? And that endpoint will be our drive to generate the right customer experience. So once we know that, I don't know, there is an objective of improving the conversion rate by 5 points, cool, yeah, that's an objective we have. For that, we need to make sure marketing is in the picture to promote the solution well. We're going to try to reduce to the bare minimum the required processes to get to the point, and then analyze that. So our time to market is 4 to 6 weeks. Wow. So we need I remember when we engaged, you told me we need to go live in 30 days. I don't think we did it, but anyway, that was another time.
I'm a demanding customer.
Now it's 4 to 6 weeks, which means you can quickly, at a low cost, do a test, see if it works, and then grow with us. We grow with our clients and guide on the next stage, the next business case that could make sense, save money, or improve sales.
Excellent. Okay, lovely. So you are in this business, I'm going to throw a buzzword, but I imagine part of what you're doing is part of the digital transformation of the organization. Yeah. And I wonder if you could say a word or two around, what you're seeing leading companies approach to their digital transformation. I imagine many have been pushed into this place by the pandemic, but what are some of your customers doing to get the digital transformation right?
Yeah, I think I may be a bit ahead of the time, and I could be wrong, but what I start seeing is kind of a change in the approach of saying, there's a software provider, it's a black box. If you want to work with this software provider, you need to change everything for it. Like a CRM approach, you have Salesforce, you have HubSpot, it's either or. You can't take both, right? Yeah. So the idea and what I see is more of a modular approach that can be agnostic of many different partners, and not saying if you want to work with us, you have to change everything, but rather have a solution that complements what has been done for years. Digital transformation has not started now, it has started a long time ago. And the idea is to be an expert an expert in a field, accessing multiple partners in the background to complement and provide a modular approach. Okay, you have a legacy system or you use Salesforce, cool, we integrate with it. Or you are someone that has been working on IBM Watson, the chatbot of IBM. Very good. We can connect our transactional module on top of an IBM Watson. So there's not anymore like, this like strict box compartment where you can't overlap each other. I think now the complementarity of experts, solutions, businesses, together with one point of contact that becomes the expert to tackle the problem that the business is trying to solve. That's, for me, the future.
That's stunning. So what's encouraging about that is if I have the so-called legacy system in my business, I don't necessarily now have to kind of, take that out and go through another big implementation program for the next 24 to 36 months. When I'm done, that system has become legacy anymore. So you're saying I could literally be digitally transformed with my legacy system, but by bringing all these complementary expert systems.
Absolutely. I think you could challenge this argument by saying, no, but we need a core system that is core, right? But I mean, you know, customer experiences is changing so much so quickly that you really need to be super agile. So the core can remain the same, but the module that engages with the end customer must be super agile. And that's where there is this complementarity rather than competition between legacy system and our approach. So the way we position it is a managed platform as a service. So it's a platform that we created, but that comes with the experts, the humans, not the robots, the humans managing it and giving to the prospect, to the clients, the right level of expertise to implement it to its best capabilities. And that's where I see a great opportunity is instead of, you know, selling a software and then coming later to sell the consultants that are costing to the business millions every time, we package that together, simple one-line price approach. You subscribe to us, we're gonna be involved and make sure it's a success.
Excellent. So now I want you to talk to fellow entrepreneurs who might be thinking about funding. You have done exceptionally well from raising funding perspective. How are you getting this right?
Do we have another 3 hours or what? Quick, I think it's really hard to raise funds in Africa at a very early stage. The early stage investors are looking into traction, so you need to get to the point of being a post-revenue startup. You need to have generated startup to start triggering interest, unless you get the trust of an angel. And one of the first source of funding of startup is what we call love money. It's money from your friends and family that supports your vision and idea. So that could help you to kickstart, right? But I'm always a big advocate of not starting any dev unless you have users or unless you have clients. So it can be a bit tricky, but you can always find a way to prove your model, even in the least scalable way, but at least you understand if the customers that are in front of you are going to buy into you. So I wouldn't promote the fake it until you make it, but almost it's kind of a very thin line where you try to understand what your audience wants before developing the full vision, because that limits your investment cost. Like today, then you could try to sell a solution, getting the requirements right to fit exactly what the customers want, and then put an MVP together in 5 days, instead of trying to develop something that you conceptualized yourself without getting the feedback of the audience. Anyway, so that's the first part, not developing too quickly, but rather getting the sales, getting the feel of the market before developing. That would optimize cost. And then raising capital, it's a number game. If you don't contact 200 investors to get 20 meetings to have 2 investors, then you must push. I have an investor list across the continent that I think has 250 potential investors, and I contacted them a lot. I got so many no's. And one of the most successful part of a fundraise is how do you follow up? So it's not the first reach that is good, bad, whatever, but it's how much hungry you are to get the interest of an investor. So following up is essential in the fundraise. And then last part, because what we managed to achieve this year, and I was literally in a keynote with my team earlier today, where I said, I just want to address that. We managed to raise our biggest raise to date without meeting our investors face to face because of the pandemic. We only met digitally, right? So you have to build a level of trust to have investors putting money on a South African business where they are from overseas, really challenging. And the way we did it, and that's a another bigger tip that I give or shared experience is how thorough your data room is. So a data room is pretty much the picture of the most current and accurate picture of your business in every single way. So what's happening on HR, your process, your team's employment contract, the certificate that you paid well, the taxes, the financial modeling, the contracts of your customers. So you put all that together in a shared drive or a Dropbox or Google Drive. Yeah. And once you have a bit of traction with an investor, you tell them, yeah, you want to see my data room? I have everything ready. That builds a huge trust, because it shows that you are structured, that you are that you keep information, that you are honest and happy to share what's happening in the business. So it's really, really powerful.
That's excellent. No, that's a stunning. That's a very big tip. Thank you for that. Cool. So you're also building a business that's not just about the solution, but also you're doing some work with Nashua Children's Charity. You want to chat about that?
Yeah, we actually just launched a press release this morning about it. So we decided in December last year to take about a week off of our daily business and focus on helping one project that we wanted to support, that was introduced to us by one of our team members, and it was Nashua. So we met the founder, absolutely fantastic woman that is doing so much for kids. And we understood very quickly that Charity and in particular Hélène was not so much into technology. Obviously, those people are on the ground. They are like putting sweat and so much effort to make it work. So we felt there was an amazing opportunity to combine our expertise. And she has the knowledge of what people want to give and how, and we have the technology know-how. So we pretty much did a hackathon and developed a conversational AI solution that can help you donate in a matter of like 30 seconds. So in 30 seconds, you can donate to the Nashua Foundation. It goes straight for the kids. It's absolutely amazing. And we partnered with Ozo, which is another startup from South Africa that is doing it's a payment gateway, and we integrated them, so you have a whole conversation, again less than 30-40 seconds, and you can donate straight to the foundation without waiting. So really, really cool.
That's awesome. All right, now let's go back to you as a leader. How are you help growing as a leader? What are the things that you're doing to stay on top of your leadership game?
I'm getting a lot of inspiration from other people. So I have like personal little things such as forums that that have a group of other CEOs and entrepreneurs and we meet once a month and we chat about what went well, what went not well, and how can we help each other, support each other. It's kind of a therapy, but with entrepreneurs. So it's you know that they understand you very quickly, if you know what I mean. So it's that's really, really cool, because it's you get a lot of pressure from different as a CEO, you're like in the middle of satisfying your team, satisfying your investors, your shareholders, your clients, your prospects. Like it's everything is like very much towards maintaining the business. So yeah, I think sports obviously, but I have a little bit of a passion around music. So I'm doing a lot of production and I used to perform a little bit in South Africa, and that was quite my relief, like the disconnection of my brain, and that's my heart that speaks. And the people that are in front of me, I'm like, this is the energy I get to then start again with my brain.
No, that's fabulous. So as we draw towards the end, do we have a hard stop at 5?
Yes.
All right, so let me ask one last question, which is for you to recommend a book, or to give our listeners a challenge, if you can do both.
A challenge and a book.
Yeah. So as we draw to a close, we asked all our guests to do these two things. One is to give our listeners a challenge, and two, to recommend a book or two, or a website or a link that can kind of help them grow as leaders. Maybe let's start with the challenge.
Good question. So a challenge, I would say, I always like the 80-20. That is actually a book too, a really, really powerful book. And it's always trying to understand what are your key priorities, and instead of doing everything average, being really good at very few things. It's like us. We didn't want to be generalist. We wanted to be expert in finance. And therefore you become straight the thought leader in your niche industry. So be good at few things instead of being average at many things. And I don't know if we can turn that into a challenge, but I think
it's a good challenge.
Yeah, I think I can connect that back to a book that I really liked. I'm sure you know it. It's kind of a Bible. Is the 4 Hours Work a Week,
yes.
By Tim Ferriss, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I really like this book. None that I want to work 4 hours, because this is I'm like the worst, I guess. It's like terrible, not 4 hours, but it's the whole mindset of being able to choose the right focus in what you're trying to do in order to build the right thing. So it's all about reducing the pollution that you can get, removing social media and all those kind of things to make sure like you have an impact. So consistency, choosing the right effort, and focus, and really pushing hard in certain things. That's what I would challenge and read and talk about.
Excellent. We've come to the end of our time together. Thanks a million, Antoine.
Thanks,
this was
man.
incredibly insightful.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. Super. All right. Cheers.
Cheers, man. Bye-bye.
Bye.